Welcome to this new episode of KET Talks, the podcast of KET Magazine. I am Philippe and I'm your host. So today we will talk about a world phenomenon that I particularly love. It's drag. But what is drag? Is drag the same as drag queen? And what about the drag kings? We have so many questions about it, don't we? And I share probably all the same questions with you who are listening to us. So don't hesitate to send us questions on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And of course, my three scroll friends are present too. And I mean, they would never miss this topic, I think. So, hello, Vincent, I have one question.
Ooh.
What is your drag name?
Oh, my drag name. My drag name was, the first time I went into drag was Miss Lajou. So today I'm Miss Lajou for you.
Hello, Miss Lajou.
And nice to meet you.
I'm scared of my second question now. Hey, Bogat, welcome. So my question to you is, can you squat on high heels?
Can I do what?
Squat.
Squat? I mean, of course I can do squat. I can do a squat on whatever. And I can run with high heels. I can do, I don't know, a jump, split, blub, blub, blip, play on high heels. I can do everything.
Okay.
She's ready.
I want to see that.
I'm also a liar.
No, you're not. Hey, Vjeran, I have like a incredibly difficult question for you. It's a dilemma.
Tell me.
You go for big hair or big hair?
The bigger the better, always.
And we will of course not talk about drag without having the honor to have a great performer around the table. Welcome, Juriji. We are super excited to have you here. How are you?
Thank you. I'm also very excited to be here with you. And before starting, I want to know why Miss Lajou. Is there like a oral sex thing or whatever?
No. It's actually it's the first two syllables of the little village where I come from.
Okay.
So La Joux is like the beginning of the village where I come from. So that's why I picked this name, Miss Lajou.
Okay, great.
But back to you, Juriji. Can I say that you're a drag performer?
Yes, you can do that. You can say that, sorry. Yes, I started when I was 18 in Brussels, when I used to be a go-go dancer. And actually, it was a way to discover things I was not allowed to discover in my daily life. So voilà, that's all. That's
how it started. No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean,
I need some few minutes to switch my brain to the English language, but it's gonna work.
I think it's because of the Cosmopolitans. Cheers.
Cheers. Maybe I need another one.
Okay, but now Vincent did some research about the art of drag, and we are of course super curious to hear about that.
Yeah, as an introduction for this topic, I wanted maybe to set the stage and differentiate things that sometimes people mix together. So as an introduction, I will talk about transvestite, female impersonator, and drag. So what is the difference between these three topic or names? So transvestism is just the act of dressing in a manner that does not fit the expectation of the binary sex gender norms. So what I mean by that is the fact for a male to dress as a woman and the fact for a female to dress as a man. So this is transvestism. And it has existed throughout whole history for a lot of different reasons. For spies, for people who wanted to avoid going to wars, for men who wanted to avoid going to war, they were transvestite themselves into women so that they wouldn't go to war. And for women who wanted to go to war, so you have a few cases of women who wanted to go to war and dressed as a man to be allowed to join the armies.
Mulan!
So for a lot of different reasons, people were using clothes from another gender, and it was especially the case in art and in theater. Different eras show that. For example, in ancient Greece, but also in Elizabethan theater in England. So the time of Shakespeare, women were not allowed on stage, so men had to play the female character. It was also the case in kabuki in Japan. And throughout this, actually, an art form was created on its own, which is called transformiste in French. There's no real translation of this word in English. And this art form has different branches. So one of these branches is what we call female impersonators, which are usually male people that will dress as a woman in order to kind of mimic a famous singer, for example. So really, in this case, trying to embody somebody else, the closest possible to this person. We have that for famous singers. And then there's another art form, which is called drag, that we will talk about today. And this is more a way to perform a gender identity in exuberant, exaggerated way, so a way to play with the gender norms. And so you have the drag that plays with more of the feminine side, what we call drag queens, and the drags that play more with the masculine side that we call drag kings. However, drag is evolving and changing, so some drags go beyond or across binary gender categories, and we have now drags that go in a little bit all directions. What I wanted to add at the end is that it's an art form that is not linked directly to the gender identity of the performer. So it's not linked directly with question of being transgender or not. It's something that is different and separated, and that's what I wanted to say for this introduction. A few things to launch the discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Vincent. Really, and I have just one first question for you, Juriji. How do you start with drag actually? How do you start? When is the day that you say, "Oh, let's do this"?
I think I started when I was a kid, like trying my mother's clothes. But we can say I really started, as I told you, when I was 18, because I was a go-go dancer in clubs, and I was like exploring my limits, like, drugs, partying, nightlife. Yeah. And at that time, I was like, I was a club kid. So I was like in this agender persona. And each time I was out, I was doing like a full body makeup, wearing very tiny clothes. So one night I was like pink, the other night I was blue, the other night I was green. I mean, it was like...
And can you explain us a little bit more of what is a club kid? Because I can imagine that it's something slightly different than a drag queen.
Sure. Actually, at that time, I didn't even knew what was a club kid. But it was funny because I had this group of friends, and our main goal at that time was like to create the best look for the next weekend, So it was like a mini competition between us, and it was so fun because we were like preparing ourselves together, doing like this before partying, and then I was working, and I was inviting them because I I had this status. I could invite like cool people to the clubs, and they were invited, and we were like exploring our bodies or feelings or
So you create your own kind of costumes, and it was this I mean, I can imagine, for me, a club kid is something kind of like a mythical, magical creature that is not really neither feminine, neither masculine. It's something that lives beyond.
Exactly. At that time, we didn't have a lot of budget, so it was really like crafty and homemade. But so at that time I was not wearing heels or even wigs or corsets like I do now, because those things are very expensive, as you know. But it was so fun, I don't know. I should show you some pictures actually, because I think it's more easier to understand. But it was really funny because I think everything is possible by night. And when you're a teenager, you're 18 and you're most of them were in the closet at that moment. And they allow themselves to be like free just for one night all together and having fun. And so I think, it was our main goal, just to have fun, actually.
And so the little seeds of Juriji were seeded then. And when was Juriji born? How was she born?
Actually, when I was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Because I had to create my Hotmail address. Yes, I know. But it's the two first letters of my birth name and my two family names, because in Spain you have the father's name and the mother's name. So it's Juriji. So voilà. And actually, it started also because since forever I know I'm trans. So it was at that moment a way to be in this non-binary agender area for me. So I was very androgynous since I'm a kid, and by choosing that name, for me it was like a statement, because my birth name is exactly the same as my father's name and as my grandpa. You know, this family tradition in Spain, and I love them, but it's true, in Spain you can have this not toxic, I'm not gonna call it toxic, but like very masculine
like strong
energy.
Masculine culture.
Exactly. So I was really against that, because from my side I was like, at the end of the day, the girls are like making the choices and doing the things, I don't know how to explain it in English, but so since forever I see that, like, the girls, like the woman in my family, like the strong characters in the family, and I was very inspired by that. And also I was like, if I have to choose in between two camps, I don't know if this is right.
Of course.
I'm from this group, So I know it since forever, since I'm a kid, and I came out as trans a few months ago, and we talked about it with my parents, and they were like, yes, actually we know it already, and we knew that this day will come, so it was like a very release, it's like, you should tell me this before.
That's always the case when it goes well.
Well, congratulations.
Yes,
and we're all around the table super happy for you. Super happy. It must be a great relief.
Yes, and actually it's the first time I'm saying I'm out online.
Here you have it at the KET Podcast, exclusive Juriji coming out. We're gonna have a great headline. Right?
We should have another drink, but
yes, I would love to.
And do you think being a drag queen help you with your discovering yourself, or how do you think it was linked for you in this situation?
Actually, when you're trans, you have to deal with dysphoria and, like, to understand your body if you don't feel comfortable in it. And actually, drag, at first, it was a way for me to escape from that and to discover my femininity. It was already there, but it really helped to just discover it and explore it and even exaggerate it, because even if I'm trans, I would never look the way I'm on stage, in the daily life. So it's really two different things. It's also important to say it, because most of the time people, straight people, some of the straights don't really understand the difference between a drag queen and a trans person. So, voilà.
So can I ask you then, approximately, like, of your colleagues and friends and who are working in the scene, of course it does not necessarily mean that drag queens will be trans. Are you one of the few, or are there a few other girls, or how does it look like here in Brussels or in Paris where you work?
Actually, in Brussels, for example, in Benediction, so it's a party I created in Brussels 3 years ago.
That is amazing, by the way.
Thank you. So in our family, we have a lot of non-binary people, and maybe future trans people, but you know, you need your time to discover yourself. But actually Benediction is really about inclusivity, so everybody's welcome, and we have cisgender people, trans people, non-binary,
which is really great.
And we also have that not only on stage but also in the audience, which is really like I'm super happy because I think it's very rare to mix everybody.
It is very rare.
Yeah.
But I have one question. What's the difference when you're in drag? What's the energy that you feel when you're performing as a drag?
Well, completely different because it's like an actor. I mean, when you're on stage, you're... I don't know, if I'm, for example, interpreting a song, I'm connected to the song, to the story of the song, what I'm saying, or, you know. So, for example, when I do this performance, I do very often at Benediction, it's like, it became like the performance, you know.
Yeah.
It's, I'm wearing like this latex damier historical costume, and I'm singing Dido's Lament. Is like the death of Dido in this, you know, opera, Purcell opera. And it's very moving because it's super drama and it's
Love
super
and
sad.
Sad.
I'm basically saying I'm dying, you know, on stage. And there is this dancer getting naked, like full frontal naked on stage. And then I cut my veins, and there are like 5 liters of fake blood throwing on her naked body. And it's like, for us, it's like a transmission, it's like a transformation, and she becomes like super mad and frenetic on stage, and it's super powerful. I mean, this image is very strong, and people love that performance, and also they're very scared because most of the time it's around 2 in the morning.
No details.
And people are so high, and then they see this sacrifice or transmission thing on stage, and they're like, what the fuck is going on, you know? And I love this kind of baroque and over-the-top aesthetic and performance. So we try on stage to create drama, to create stories.
And is that your drag? Like
actually,
the baroque,
yes, my
5
drag.
liters of fake blood.
No, but I'm very connected to horror movies and also baroque because I used to be at the conservatory in lyrical singing. So my range is contre-ténor, and it's very close to the castrati voices. And at that time, the castratis were like wearing a lot of makeup, corsets, feathers, wigs. So for me, they were like the first drags, you know? So it's super inspiring. And I think it also comes from that because when I was at the conservatory, actually it was very hard for me because I was queer and I was not out yet, but I knew that I really wanted to explore my ambiguity, my female voice, as we can say that. And they were like, you should not sing Carmen at your exam because you're a boy and boys are not supposed to sing this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but I can do it, you know? My vocal range allows me to sing this. And actually, before going at the conservatory, I was a chorist. In the choir of Carmen and also Aida, and in this huge production. And I was hearing Carmen each night, and I was so inspired because Carmen is, I mean, imagine at that time, Carmen was like the first feminist. I mean, this story is crazy for the time it was invented. And I was so inspired by this strong female Spanish character. And I was like, I really want to sing that, actually. And they were, no, but you're not allowed. And actually, you should not sing in contratenor anymore, but in baritone. Because my teacher was a baritone, so it was easier for him to teach me. But I was so disappointed because I was not there for that. I was
Yeah.
like, this is not what I want. And I said, okay, fuck you, I'm leaving. Because I was a teenager and I was super rebel. But yeah, maybe today I would not react that way for sure. But that's what happened.
I have
at
a
that
question
moment.
because your story is deep.
Yes.
Okay, it's really deep.
It's only the beginning.
Yeah, because I will just put a parallel. I did like a couple of times drag, like with full makeup and stuff, and it's something fun. It's you laugh a lot, you see yourself with breast and with a wig and with another face, but it wakes something up. I don't know if you had the same experience.
Yeah, I think for me, what surprised me the most doing drag is the fact that people won't recognize you as a drag because you are somebody else, like you are a character, and this allows you to explore things about yourself that you would not explore otherwise. So that was what shook me in a way. It's like, oh, but
Everything is possible.
yeah, everything is possible. You can open new doors. And for the first time, I was somebody else in a way, like an actor might be in a way, but in a very different way. So you know that you can explore and go through gender barriers that exist, and you go through them. So you're free from these barriers.
Yeah, but that's not my question. Is that something that you feel inside that you need to do? You feel this energy coming up from you don't know where, because you are wearing something else than usually.
Yes, but I think it's kind of linked what you say that, okay, while we have this character put on, actually for me, from my experience when I was doing drag a couple of times, I also felt that, oh, this is very safe and it's also very me.
Yeah.
A me that is repressed in a way on a daily life because of societal expectations, and because I never really wanted or dared to show my feminine side, or I didn't really know how to show it, because when on your daily life you're wearing your regular clothes, which is very gender conforming,
Boring.
and
sometimes.
suddenly now you're wearing like skirts and corsets and a wig, and then you think like, wow, this is not me when you look in the mirror, but somehow you understand that this is also very much myself.
So, Juriji, you are a professional performer, professional drag. What do you think about people, girls, boys, and everything that's in between who do drag for once, for twice, and they have fun? What do you think of that?
I think it's great. I think everybody should try once at least, because as you said, I really think drag opens doors, because most of the time when my friends or people talk to me, they're like, oh, you look so free on stage, I would love to be as free as you are, and I'm like, but you can also be, I mean, it's up to you. But it also, I don't know, it's crazy how people can feel trapped sometimes in their gender social
Construct.
Yes, and it's funny because I did it because there was, I mean, since you know it, as a trans person or even as a baby drag, when you know it, there's no, I don't know the name in English, but there's no way back.
There's no way back.
There's no way back, and when the door is open, I mean,
I have to say, like, this is why I always love drag queens and why I'm always inspired and why I admire them, because they just have this, you say, like, you can do it, what you said to these friends, that, but you can be free on stage. But to us, and I can say, like, me not being a drag queen, it's not that simple. And for drag queens, it seems like such an easy thing to be so brave, to just put on full makeup, to do what you were doing as a club kid when you were 18. Or my friends in Zagreb, shout out to House of Flamingo. I was just looking at them, at these young boys transforming into full-blown women. And it's for them, it's like, yeah, but it's a no big deal. And when I look at it, for me, it takes so much bravery to just put a lipstick on. yet you find the bravery to do well beyond that.
And when you're, my question is, when you're preparing to be on stage and then you're doing basically the transformation, does it evoke something in you? Does it make you feel like, okay, I'm really transforming into something more powerful? Or because often we hear it that during this preparation, this inner peace and bravery comes out, and I think it's so fantastic in a way. It's all about transformation. So I don't know how it is for you.
Yeah, actually, it's true. But for example, when I work at Madame Arthur, we only have 90 minutes to get ready. So to get ready, it's to do your makeup, put your wig on, put your clothes, and to prepare your quick changes, you know?
So it's a quick magic.
So it's really stressing. So I don't have this pleasure. You can feel like, oh, I'm so beautiful, like Alicia Edwards, like doing faces in the mirror or stuff, because the time is running, you know? So, but it's true. So I can get ready in 90 minutes, but if I can choose, I prefer to have at least 2 hours to really get into the persona. And if it's 3, it's perfect. But, but yeah, at the end of the day, if it's your job, for example, I have some friends in Paris that are beauty queens, and they tell me, yeah, but I need like 5 hours to get ready. I'm like, you're crazy. I mean, if it's your work, I mean, sometimes I have to be in drag every day. During the whole week, I cannot spend 5 hours every day. It's not possible, you know, in the planning.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to say that there are a lot of different kind of drag queens also, and
sure.
There's a whole diversity between the comedy queen and the beauty queens. And so, can you maybe describe it a little bit, or what you know, and who do you, or where do you put yourself in this different categories?
Sorry, I don't want to scream loud in this. So I don't want to throw shade here, but
please do.
So one of your questions were like,
how does Brussels drag scene look like?
No, really, I was going to ask, what about Brussels? How's the scene in Brussels?
I want to hear it.
In your opinion, I want to hear it.
So I'm not going to be shady because I'm a very nice queen, but I was trying to say that since I'm working in Brussels and in Paris, I can see the difference. For example, in Brussels, we can say that they're more into comedy. They're very like comedy queens, I think. Like when you go at Chez Maman or even Mademoiselle, she's very funny. They're really into jokes and voilà. But then you go to Paris, and most of them are beauty queens. They're really like super polished. They're crazy beautiful, but sometimes on stage I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. I mean, but I think it's really hard because being a drag queen, you're supposed to be funny, to be artsy, you know, on top, and also like if you do a lip sync, which that's not what I do, I sing live. Actually, yeah, it's funny because, you know, with this Rupaul craziness going on, which is really nice, you know, it's everybody wants to do drag now, and I think it's really good. But actually, the side effect of this is also that at the end of the day, you are a performer, so you should kill the stage, you know, and you should know your lyrics if you want to lip sync, which is very important, and it's not every time the case. You know? For example, in Paris, one of my great friends, Cookie Conti, I think she's the only one who can really like lip sync on stage, and she really kills the stage. She's amazing.
What about Le Philippe?
Le Philippe, she's amazing. She's really funny.
Just checking.
No, but I know her more as a comedy queen, not really as a lip sync queen. Yeah. But I love her. Actually, I don't know her yet, but I love her. I think she's great. I think she's beautiful. And she's so fucking funny. And I think it's really important. And actually, we all have like our strong... whatever, I don't know to speak in English.
Like forte. You can say strong forte.
For example, for me, it's my voice, my booty, because I don't need to wear pads, you know. But Actually, I feel very lucky because I will show you later. But I feel very lucky because I don't have to pluck my eyebrows to have like this feminine face. Even before the hormones. I mean, I'm on hormones for 5 months now, so it's not about all the. It's not all about the hormones, but I've always had this round face, so it really helps for drag. But anyways, I think, as you said, everyone has his forte, and I think it's really important to understand it as soon as you can, because nowadays everybody wants to be a fishy queen, which I think...
So fishy queens, for those who don't know.
Yeah, for example, which actually now it's controversial to say fishy queen, but let's talk about this. So fishy, because you smell fish like pussy, so that means that you look like a cisgender woman.
Okay.
There's no real or unreal woman, but cisgender or whatever. So yeah, it's a bit controversial now, this way of saying, but fishy is like a beauty queen. But actually, I used to date a person who was also doing drag, and he was jealous of me because he was like, "You look so fishy," and I don't, and I'm like, because my features are like this and your makeup is bad, but it's okay, you know.
Oh my God. I think what you're trying to say, your point is that they don't have to be fishy.
For sure. That was I was trying to say.
Okay,
Thank you. So
being
a drag
nice
queen,
she's a nice queen.
I'm very nice, but he was an asshole. So, but I was trying to say that the main point is not to look pretty. I mean, the main point is to create your own persona, to create your own identity, and also your own brand. Because I mean, you can get inspired by others. We all are. I mean, everything in the daily life can be inspiring, but at the end of the day, if you want to do this as a job, as a performer, you should really find your own identity and your own brand, because as Daniel Lismore says, everybody's already taken, so find yourself.
But I have a question about that personality, because I've done drag 3 or 4 times, and each time it's the same persona that is coming out, and it's not something... It's just in there. It's a bitch. She's annoying. I know. It's part of me. But you say you construct it. Is that something that you play, or should it be something that is in you? Or maybe a mix of both?
Actually, I think I feel a bit as an outsider at some point, because since I'm performing live, I really have to connect to the songs, and I get inspired by the songs I'm performing on stage, and my looks will be linked to that. So I'm more like a chameleon, like an actor, because when I'm in Madame Arthur, if it's the show, I don't know, France Gall or whatever, and if the metteur en scène wants this atmosphere, then I'm gonna create something who will fit with the whole thing, you know? And yeah, so I cannot really tell you if I'm like this or like that. I think, maybe the best thing is,
No, but it's perfect.
But I guess it's also amazing. Like this kind of organic process. I mean,
Yeah.
your experience from your childhood, and then that you had to kind of like live through all of that. I guess all in all, it created you, and then you on stage.
Yes.
Whether you're wearing this or that costume, your energy or your persona is not. I can imagine it's not something that it's so very different from your real you outside of drag, but it's more like an enhanced version of you, your creative mind that comes out. I think it's also that's why I love drag performances.
Guys,
exactly.
I propose, because we have to continue.
Okay.
If you have one last question for Juriji, ask it now. Bogat.
Well, let's start with Vincent because I need to, I need to
No,
think.
I had a question based on what you said earlier about RuPaul Drag Race. So for people who don't know what is RuPaul Drag Race, it's a TV reality show that started now 12 years ago in the US, where drag queen competes to become America's next drag superstar. And now it's been running for 12 years, and there are franchises in Thailand and Holland, Spain, everywhere around the planet. So we have more and more of RuPaul drag races. How do you think it has changed the perception of drag, but also how it has changed drag? Because we see now with 13 seasons in the US that the one who comes are the ones who grew up with RuPaul, and they're like kind of prepared for all the challenges. So as if drag was, you know, a combination of a sewing challenge and an acting challenge and a dancing challenge. So it gives also an idea of what drag should be. So do you think it's like mostly positive, mostly negative? How do you see this?
I really think it's positive because even if there is probably also negative things about it, I think at the end it's really positive because it really gave an amazing platform for drag, and it puts drag in this stardom level, which was not the case before. And now you can dream about being a drag superstar, which it was not really the case 12 years ago. And actually, I think it's so clever because it's really funny, it's really accessible, and everybody's watching RuPaul's Drag Race, not only the queer scene, which is really amazing, I think.
Yeah.
Well, who's watching here? Lift your hands.
No, I think yeah. What you say is like throughout the years, it started as a kind of second side show, and it grew. It changed from network to network, and now it's becoming completely mainstream in the US, and it's been awarded Emmys twice in a row now, if I'm not mistaken. So it has become mainstream, and it has made drag mainstream.
Bogat,
But-
your last question?
Yes, but you think that European drag and European drag culture is different from, let's say, what we can see from the States, from US, or it's because I can kind of imagine that it's more arty, more deep, let's say.
I don't know if it's deeper or not. But for sure, since RuPaul's Drag Race is here, there's like this brand of the doll, fishy doll, you know? And for example, it's funny because before RuPaul's Drag Race, you could really like see the difference between the US girls and the European girls. But now, since it's super mainstream, I think it's not that everybody looks US, because it's not true.
But there's like interchange going on in
Yes.
social media and so on.
But I think it's also great because the level is super high. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's teach us also to
go further.
Yeah. And for sure. So, but I think it's not only that, as we were talking about before. It's great to be beautiful, and even if you're not in this female persona, but to be like, the name is this
What?
word,
The what? The female persona?
whatever,
The fish?
gorgeous. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a performer, as I told you, you have to kill the stage, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it's not only about the aesthetics.
Look.
Yes.
True. Vjeran.
Quick last question. I want to hear more about Brussels and more about you. Like, how can we change and zhuzh up the Brussels drag queen scene? And where do you see it in next 2 years?
How much years?
In next 2 years, the next 5 years?
Okay.
Where would you like to take Brussels, and how would it look like in your eyes, Brussels drag queen scene?
I don't know. I forgot my magic ball, but I think let's hope this COVID situation will be will be over. Sorry, and for sure, Benediction will be back. We'll be showing new drag queens on stage. promotion time.
Yay!
You're all gonna come.
Benediction.
But yeah, I don't know. I cannot really tell. But I'm super happy, for example, that Cabaret Mademoiselle exists. We also exist as Benediction and also Chez Maman, because there are 3 really different propositions, you know.
Yeah.
And I really feel lucky, and I think we should be lucky, because even if Brussels is tiny, at the end of the day, we already have a great scene, you know,
Yeah.
with different propositions. So I think it's really important to say that, and interesting.
So
to
go
see-
out and
See the diversity. Go to Chez Maman, go to Chez Cabaret Mademoiselle, and let's party at Benediction.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you, Juriji.
Thank you.
So now, Bogat, you have recommendations. Is it about drag?
Of course, it's about drag. It's actually a documentary from 1967. It's called The Queen, and it's directed by Frank Simon, narrated by Flawless Sabrina, a drag queen herself.
Wow.
And it's basically about a competition in 1967. It's called Miss All America Camp Beauty Contest. So this documentary takes us back to a pageant beauty contest, which is a type of I would say it's part of the drag scene. And why is it important? Why is it interesting? It's because back in the 60s, these categories of transvestites and drag queens and beauty queens, it was all a little bit like mishmashed, and nobody really use these different categories, but they all lived through this experience to be on stage, to try to be, as you said earlier, the fishiest, the most beautiful, and so on and so on. So it's a great documentary because it follows the preparations of this competition, the contestants. You can hear some talks in the dressing rooms, these kind of nice commentaries, and of course there's a lot of jealousy and a lot of this drama. And why I specifically love this documentary is because one of the great performer, Christelle Labeja, who later on went on to establish the great house of Labeja, and basically she was one of the founder of the Harlem ballroom scene. She appears in this documentary as a contestant.
Oh, wow.
She has some really legendary quotes, so I really love this documentary. And it's also because she also reappears in the documentary Paris is Burning later on. So these documentaries, which both of them are absolutely amazing, and if you're a queer person, you definitely should watch both of them. It's a time capsule to take us back in the 60s and see how it was, how the scene was back then, and just enjoy the beauties, the clothes, the garments, the magic of being on stage. So yes, The Queen from Frank Simon.
I'm super curious. And what a name, The Queen.
The Queen.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Boga.
Thank you.
And now music. So, Vjeran, will we dance on drag sounds?
We will, and we're also going to the streets of Brussels. So we have 2 recommendations. For the first recommendation, I'm going to let you wait for the drag queen one. We're recommending the elegant, soulful jazzy Reillon Bacol. She's a Belgian Congolese artist who is creating something like really, truly unique. Because she has this eclectic music sound that mixes experimental jazz and soul melodies. And we definitely recommend giving a listen to the songs 507, Bird, and Sorry. And Reillon started her career at an early age as a contemporary and a classical dancer. But then after that, she wanted to experiment more with arts. And even though you can still see her dancing side, even when she's just simply gracefully standing behind the mic, we're super happy that she's also singing. So give Reillon a try. But because we have a Juriji coming over, and because we're feeling super generous and giving in a happy mood, and we're like super like Jonathan Van Ness came here, and he's like, we're gonna give you something very special.
Okay. Do you want me to sing?
Please.
Oh, yes.
So what?
No, but we're of course we want you to tell us a bit about your recording. you're a recording artist, and about what you're doing.
Well, actually, it was 7 years ago. So
Alright.
I released this first EP, which, I'm super happy we did that. But it was a weird beginning because I released my EP, then I discovered my songs that I composed and written were not on my name. And on the producer's name, which was a friend but an asshole also. So I had to take my credits back, you know. So it was really like complicated, and I also had like a bad experience with my first manager. So it was everything super complicated, and also leaving the conservatory, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this shit. I was like losing hope in humanity because I was trusting those people so much, and then suddenly everything was growing down. But I was young also, and
But tell us, you're singing again.
for sure. I mean, I'm working at Madame Arthur, which
And will you be releasing something?
yes.
Under which name? Under which name?
I don't know yet. We are in studio now, producing new tracks, and since it was 7 years ago, why not like changing name or whatever? Everything is
Okay.
possible at this point, but new tracks are coming for sure.
I love these
Wow.
exclusives. I love it.
But you know what? It will be exclusive on KET Magazine, I hope.
For sure.
Okay.
Put me on the cover.
Now we have the
Yeah.
demand.
Yeah. We can negotiate everything. Okay. Thank you, Vjeran. Thank you, Juriji. Because you know what? You know what? Time's up. Yeah.
Already.
But as you said, Vjeran, but earlier, we have to juicy up our Brussels and our lives.
Yeah.
Don't
Zhuzh it up.
Juice it up. Yes. So really, thank you, Juriji. It was
Thank
a great
you.
time to having you here. Great conversation.
We're gonna have you again for
Yeah,
sure.
because this was way too
She's
short.
coming back.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, too short. Yeah, with like shirts. I don't know why. It's because of the Cosmopolitan, I think. Thank you, Bogat, for annoying like interventions. Like, no, thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Vjeran. Also, thank you to Visit Brussels for supporting us. If you want to stay tuned on what's happening in Brussels, even in COVID times, check the website KET.Brussels, the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, and the Spotify accounts, of course. And for now, I say bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.